Hello everyone, today we are going to learn Chapter 7, The Gupta Era and Age of Tireless Creativity, Part 1 from your Social Science textbook. In this video, I'll be covering each and every line from the chapter so you don't miss anything important. Make sure to keep your notebook and pen ready and take notes while watching. This will help you remember the concepts better. You can pause or rewind any time to write things down. So, let's begin. First, we have a quote by Kalidas in Raghuvansa. Kalidas was one of the greatest poets and playwrights in ancient India. He lived during the Gupta period, around the 4th to 5th century CE, which is often called the Golden Age of India. Kalidas wrote many famous works in Sanskrit, including poems like Raghuvansham. The Raghuvansam is an epic poem that tells the story of the Raghu dynasty, the royal family to which Lord Rama belonged. Neither force nor mere diplomacy can eliminate evil, nor is righteousness upheld by flattery alone. It is wisdom and knowledge that truly strengthen a kingdom, not indulgence in luxuries. So here Kalidas is teaching us an important lesson about leadership and good behavior. He says that a ruler or any person in power cannot remove evil just by using force, that is violence, or clever words, that is diplomacy. Also, being praised or flattered by others does not make someone truly good or righteous. What really makes a kingdom or a community strong and happy is wisdom and knowledge. He warns that spending too much time on luxuries and pleasures weakens both people and kingdoms. Figure 7.1 Landscape of Ajanta caves dating from the 2nd century BCE to about 480 CE. The Ajanta caves are a group of rock-cut caves located in Maharashtra, India. These caves are carved into the side of a hill and overlook a beautiful, quiet valley with a river flowing below. They were built in two main periods. The earlier caves were made around the 2nd century BCE and the later caves were added around 480 CE. The Ajanta caves are famous for the walls and ceilings which are covered with beautiful paintings and sculptures that tell stories from the life of the Buddha and his previous lives. This art shows the skill, devotion and creativity of ancient Indian artists. These caves were used for meditation, study and worship. So the big questions are, who were the Guptas? Why is the Gupta period sometimes called the classical age in Indian history? What was happening in the rest of the subcontinent at this time? Who were some great figures of this period and why do their stories matter today? We will learn answers for these questions in this chapter. Dhruv and Bhavisha had just returned from their journey to the Pandya kingdom. They had seen the splendid markets, taken a short trip on a ship, and met some Roman traders buying pearls. Now they were itching to use Itihas again and jump a few centuries. What would that be like? They wondered. Will the cities be the same? What about the people and society? Would they have changed? What kind of governance would they have? Would there be new literature, new art? They could not wait to find out and were soon whisked away too. So our two curious travelers, Dhruv and Bhavisha, have just come back from visiting the Pandya kingdom in ancient South India. They saw splendid markets full of goods and trade, ships sailing for sea trade, and Roman traders buying pearls. Now they are eager to use Itihas again, their magical way of traveling through history. They just can't wait to explore another period in India's past. They start wondering, what will the cities look like in the next era? How will society and people have changed? What kind of government or kings will rule? Will there be new art, literature, and culture? Figure 7.2 Empires and Kingdoms during the period from 3rd to 6th century CE. This map shows India between the 3rd and 6th centuries CE, a time when many kingdoms flourished across the land. In the north, the Gupta Empire grew powerful and brought peace and prosperity. This was the age of great scholars like Kalidas and Aryabhatta. Kamarupa kingdom was an important ancient kingdom in northeastern India. In central and southern India, kingdoms like the Vakatakas, Pallavas developed their own styles of art, architecture and culture. The Gupta Empire was the most powerful and flourished from the 3rd to the 6th century CE with its capital at Pataliputra, present-day Patna. So, the Gupta Empire was one of the most powerful and important empires in ancient Indian history. It began around the 3rd century CE and continued to flourish until the 6th century CE. During this time, India saw great progress in education, science, art, literature and trade. The capital city of the Gupta Empire was Pataliputra, which is the modern-day city of Patna in Bihar. From there, the Gupta rulers controlled a large part of northern India and brought peace and prosperity to their people. Because of all the achievements made during this period, the Gupta rule is often called the Golden Age of India. The Kamarupa kingdom was an important power that ruled in parts of modern-day Assam. So, the Kamarupa kingdom was an important ancient kingdom in northeastern India. It ruled over large parts of what is now Assam and nearby areas. The kingdom was known for its strong rulers, rich culture and unique traditions. The Vakatakas ruled in the central part of the subcontinent with their capital at Nandivardhana near present-day Nagpur. So, the Vakatakas were an important dynasty that ruled the central part of the Indian subcontinent around the same time as the Guptas, between the 3rd and 5th centuries CE. Their capital city was Nandivardhana, which was located near present-day Nagpur in Maharashtra. The Vakatakas were close allies of the Guptas and together they helped spread art, culture and learning across India. With their capital at Kanchipuram, the Pallavas rose to power after the Satvahana dynasty and ruled till the latter half of the 9th century CE. The Pallavas were an important South Indian dynasty who came to power after the Satvahana dynasty. Their capital city was Kanchipuram, located in present-day Tamil Nadu. The Pallavas ruled till the latter half of the 9th century CE. They were famous for being great builders and patrons of art, architecture and learning. Bhavisha. My head is spinning. There are so many kingdoms and empires. How am I ever going to remember all of this? Bhavisha is confused and overwhelmed after learning about so many different rulers, empires and dynasties in Indian history. Dhruv. Do not worry, Bhavisha. Let us understand what is happening and we will remember it. So, Dhruv is trying to encourage Bhavisha. He means that instead of trying to memorize all the names of kingdoms and rulers, it's better to understand the story of how things change over time, how one kingdom rose after another, and what made each one special. He believes that when we understand the reasons and connections in history, it becomes easier to remember and much more interesting to learn. Bhavisha, is there anything in this period that we can see back home? So, Bhavisha is wondering whether any remains, monuments or artworks from this historical period, that is the time of the Guptas, Vakatakas, Pallavas and other kingdoms, can be still seen in modern India. Her question shows curiosity about how history is connected to the present. She wants to know if there are temples, caves, sculptures or inscriptions from that time that still exist today. Dhruv, let us use our time machine and find out. So, Dhruv is curious and eager to explore history. Instead of just reading about it, he wants to see it with his own eyes. Bhavisha activates Itihas and they jump to Mehrauli in Delhi, where the famous Iron Pillar of Delhi stands. So, Bhavisha activates Itihas, their time travel machine. They travel or jump through time and reach Mehrauli in Delhi, where the Iron Pillar of Delhi is located. This moment shows that Dhruv and Bhavisha are now going to see a real monument from the period they were learning about, the Gupta period. The Iron Pillar is an ancient structure that still stands today and helps us learn about India's scientific and artistic achievements from that time. They overhear a tour guide nearby who was explaining the significance of this pillar. So, Bhavisha and Dhruv hear a tour guide talking to visitors about the importance and history of the Iron Pillar of Delhi. Tour guide. This Iron Pillar of Delhi is over 1600 years old and still stands tall without rusting. It is a testament to the advanced metallurgical skills of ancient India. So, the tour guide is saying that the Iron Pillar was made more than 1600 years ago during ancient times, and yet it has not rusted even though it is made up of iron. This shows that people in ancient India had very advanced knowledge of metallurgy, that is the science of working with metals. The pillar's excellent condition proves how skilled the Indian metal workers were, even so long ago. It stands as a symbol of India's technological achievements in the Gupta period. Now Bhavisha says, 1600 years old and not resting. Let us go and see it. She is amazed and curious after hearing the tour guide's words. She finds it hard to believe that something made of iron could stay shiny and strong for over 1600 years without rusting. Then she says, "Look, is this the famous iron pillar?" She is excited and curious as she finally sees the iron pillar of Delhi with her own eyes. Dhruv, "Oh wow, there is something written on it, but I cannot read it." So Dhruv notices the inscription carved on the iron pillar of Delhi. The writing he sees is in Sanskrit, an ancient script that most people today cannot read easily. Now Bhavisha says, "I wonder who made this and why." Let's hear what the guide uncle has to say about this. Bhavisha wants to know the story behind the iron pillar, who built it and for what purpose. Tour guide. The sixth pillar was erected during the reign of Chandragupta II, a ruler of the Gupta dynasty. It was probably erected first in front of the Udaygiri caves, Madhya Pradesh, and brought to Delhi a few centuries later. It was dedicated to Vishnu and its inscriptions celebrate the king's achievements. So tour guide is explaining the history and purpose of the iron pillar of Delhi. The pillar weighs about 6 tons and was built during the rule of Chandragupta II, one of the great Gupta emperors. It was originally placed near the Udaygiri caves in Madhya Pradesh, an important Gupta site with rock-cut temples and inscriptions, and was moved to Delhi later. The pillar was dedicated to Lord Vishnu, a major Hindu deity. The inscriptions on it were made to honor and praise the achievements of King Chandragupta II. So the iron pillar was not just a scientific marvel but also an important historical and religious monument that gives us information about the Gupta period's art, technology and devotion. Both that is so fascinating. We would love to learn more about this king and his empire. So after hearing the tour guide's explanation about Chandragupta II and the Gupta Empire, Bhavisha and Dhruv find it amazing that people so long ago could create something as advanced as the iron pillar, and now they want to learn more about the ruler, his achievements and the time he lived in. Let us begin this exciting journey into the history of the Gupta Empire. So now let's get ready to learn about the Gupta period, one of the most important eras in ancient Indian history. Don't miss out. Picture leaving a bicycle out in the rain for just 1 year. It would soon show signs of rust. Yet, this ancient pillar standing under the open sky for centuries remains unaltered. Scientists have tried to uncover its secret, and they believe it is because a unique thin layer created by the special iron used and oxygen from the air forms on the surface of the iron, protecting it from the corrosion. So, if you leave a bicycle made of iron in the rain for 1 year, it will start to rust. But the iron pillar, which has been standing in the open for over 1600 years, has not rusted at all. Scientists have studied it and found that the iron used to make the pillar was very pure and mixed in a special way. When it reacts with oxygen in the air, it forms a thin protective layer on the surface. This layer stops rust from forming, keeping the pillar strong and shiny even after so many centuries. It shows the advanced scientific knowledge and metal working skills of the people of ancient India. A new power emerges. By the 3rd century CE, the Kuṣāṇa Empire, which spread over the north and northwest of the subcontinent, started to weaken. New kingdoms emerged, setting the stage for a fresh period of consolidation. And the new actor on this stage was the Gupta dynasty. So, by the 3rd century CE, the Kuṣāṇa Empire, which had ruled over northern and northwestern India, began to lose its power. As the Kushans weakened, new kingdoms started to form in different parts of India. This change created the right conditions for a new and powerful empire to rise and unite many regions again. That new power was the Gupta dynasty. The Guptas brought stability, prosperity, and progress to India, marking the beginning of a new and important chapter in Indian history, often called the Golden Age of India. There are various theories on the origin of the Guptas. However, it is widely believed that they emerged in a region near present-day Uttar Pradesh as regional rulers. Over time, they rose to prominence and established a powerful empire. The Gupta period is considered remarkable in Indian history and is marked by significant developments in many areas. The fields of art, architecture, literature, and science flourished, particularly during the time of Chandragupta II, and that legacy continues even today. So historians have different ideas about where the Gupta dynasty came from, but most believe that the Guptas began as local rulers in a region near present-day Uttar Pradesh. Slowly, they became more powerful, expanded their control, and built a strong and large empire. The time when the Guptas ruled is known as one of the most glorious periods in Indian history, because there were great achievements in art, architecture, literature, and science. These developments reached their peak during the reign of Chandragupta II, one of the greatest Gupta rulers. Even today, the influence of Gupta culture and knowledge can still be seen in Indian art, learning, and traditions, which is why this era is often called India's Golden Age. The inscription on the iron pillar in Delhi speaks of a king named Chandra, who has been identified with Chandragupta II, not to be confused with Chandragupta Maurya from the Maurya dynasty, whom we met earlier. Chandragupta II, also known as Vikramāditya, was one of the renowned rulers of the Gupta dynasty. He was a devotee of Vishnu, and his mount Vahana, Garuda, often appears on many inscriptions. So, the inscription on the iron pillar of Delhi mentions a king named Chandra. Historians believe this refers to Chandragupta II, one of the most famous rulers of the Gupta dynasty. It's important not to confuse him with Chandragupta Maurya, who lived much earlier and founded the Maurya Empire. Chandragupta II was also known by another name, Vikramāditya. He was a devotee of Lord Vishnu, and the image of Garuda, that is the eagle who is Vishnu's mount or Vahana, is seen on many of his coins and inscriptions. This shows that during Chandragupta II's rule, there was not only political strength and prosperity, but also a deep connection with religion and culture. Don't miss out. Have you noticed the 2 in Chandragupta II's name? Historians added this number because there was another Chandragupta before him, his grandfather. This tradition of naming the first son after his grandfather is followed by some Indian families even today. Chandragupta I, as he is referred to, played a crucial role in the early expansion of the Gupta Empire. He is remembered for his coins and strategic alliances, which helped him consolidate his power and lay the foundation for a strong empire. So, the 2 in Chandragupta II's name means that he was the second king named Chandragupta in the Gupta dynasty. The first Chandragupta was his grandfather known as Chandragupta I. Historians use numbers like 1, 2, 3, etc. to tell rulers with the same name apart. Many Indian families even today name children after their grandparents, so this practice is quite familiar. Chandragupta I was very important because he helped the Guptas grow from small local rulers into a powerful empire. He did this through strategic marriages and alliances with other royal families and issuing coins that showed his growing power and influence. In short, Chandragupta I laid the strong foundation on which his grandson Chandragupta II later built the great Gupta Empire. Figure 7.4 gold coin featuring King Chandragupta I with his queen Kumara Devi. On the reverse side, a seated goddess identified as Lakshmi. So in this gold coin from the Gupta period, we can see King Chandragupta I with his queen Kumara Devi on one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin, there is an image of goddess Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth and prosperity. This coin is important because it tells us several things. It shows that gold coins were used during the Gupta period, meaning the empire was rich and prosperous. It shows that queens like Kumara Devi were respected. The image of goddess Lakshmi shows the people's religious beliefs and their hope for prosperity. The warrior king. The Prayaga Prasasti, a pillar inscription in Prayagraj, praises the achievements of Samudragupta, Chandragupta II's father. According to the author of the inscription, the court poet Harisena, the king's ambition was to be Dharani Bandha, or to unify the earth. To this end, he fought many wars, defeating kings, taking over their kingdoms, and expanding his empire. Many defeated kings were reinstated and offered tribute to Samudragupta, while others, fearing his might, submitted without protest. The Prayag Prasasti is a famous pillar inscription found in Prayagraj, earlier called Allahabad. It praises the achievements of Samudragupta, who was the father of Chandragupta II. This inscription was written by Harisena, the court poet of Samudragupta. It helps historians learn about the Gupta kings and their conquest. According to Harisena, Samudragupta's dream was to become Dharani Bandha, which means to unify the earth. In other words, to bring many kingdoms under one rule. To achieve this, he fought many wars, defeated several kings and rulers, and expanded his empire widely. However, Samudragupta was also known for his wisdom and diplomacy. Some defeated kings were allowed to rule again, but they had to pay tribute and accept his authority. Others surrendered peacefully, afraid of his power. This shows that Samudragupta was not only a brave warrior, but also a clever and fair ruler, whose leadership helped make the Gupta Empire strong and united. Figure 7.5, an inscription by Harisena. This figure shows an inscription written by Harisena, the court poet of Samudragupta. It gives us information about the life and achievements of Samudragupta, including his victories, qualities, and contributions to his empire. In ancient times, such inscriptions were carved on pillars, walls, or stones to honor kings and preserve their legacy for future generations. So, this is a real piece of historical evidence which helps us understand King Samudragupta and his greatness as a ruler during the Gupta period. Harisena also wrote about how the king supported art, learning, and trade, making his kingdom rich and successful. Samudragupta himself is portrayed as a veena player in one of the coins he minted, figure 7.6. So Harisena also wrote about how the king encouraged art, learning, and trade. Because of this, his kingdom became wealthy, peaceful, and culturally advanced. Samudragupta was not just a warrior but also a lover of music and culture. In fact, on one of his coins, shown in figure 7.6, he is shown playing the veena, a traditional Indian musical instrument. Figure 7.6, a seated Samudragupta playing the veena on the reverse side goddess Lakshmi. So, one side of the coin, Samudragupta is shown seated and playing the veena, a traditional Indian musical instrument. On the reverse side of the coin, there is an image of goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity. This coin shows that the Gupta period was a time when art, culture, and religion flourished along with political power and economic prosperity. Think about it. Why do you think kings chose to proclaim their achievements in the form of inscriptions? Kings chose to proclaim their achievements through inscriptions for several important reasons. To record history. Inscriptions help preserve information about the king's victories, rule, and good deeds for future generations. To show power and glory. By carving their achievements on pillars, rocks, or temple walls, kings could display their strength and success for everyone to see. To gain respect and loyalty. These inscriptions reminded people, both common citizens and other rulers, of the king's greatness, encouraging respect, pride, and obedience. To spread their fame far and wide. Inscriptions were often placed in different parts of the kingdom, so travelers and traders could learn about the king's rule. So in short, inscriptions were like royal announcements carved in stone. They helped kings celebrate their achievements and keep their legacy alive forever. Let's remember, ambitious kings sometimes performed the Aśvamedha Yajña to build mighty empires and leave a legacy for the future. Such a significant event was commemorated by minting special coins like the one shown in figure 7.7. So in ancient India, powerful and ambitious kings sometimes performed a grand ritual called the Aśvamedha Yajña or horse sacrifice. So what was Aśvamedha Yajña? A horse was set free to roam in all directions followed by the king's army. Wherever the horse went, the rulers of those lands had two choices, either to accept the power of the king who sent the horse or fight to stop it. If no one stopped the horse, it meant the king's power was accepted in that region. When the horse returned safely, a grand ceremony was held, that is, Aśvamedha Yajña. The king performed the ritual to celebrate his victories. The queen played an important role in the ceremony, showing her royal status. This ceremony was done to show their strength, prove their authority, and expand their empire. It was also a way to leave behind a lasting legacy so that people would remember them as great rulers. To celebrate such an important event, kings often made special coins like the one shown in figure 7.7. These coins served as a symbol of victory and power, reminding everyone of the king's success and greatness in uniting and ruling a vast empire. Figure 7.7. This coin depicts the sacrificial horse of the Aśvamedha Yajña. The reverse depicts the queen holding a chowri fly whisk. So this special coin was made to celebrate the Aśvamedha Yajña, and on one side of the coin there is a picture of the sacrificial horse used in the ceremony. On the other side, the coin shows the queen holding a chowri, which is a fly whisk. In ancient India, holding a chowri was a symbol of honor and royal service. The chowri was usually made of yak hair and was gently waved near kings, queens or deities as a mark of respect, purity and high status. So when the queen is shown holding a chowri on the coin, it doesn't mean she was a servant. It means she was shown as a royal figure taking part in an important ceremony full of grace, dignity and authority. Some literary sources give us descriptive information about rulers, kingdoms and the people. The Vishnu Puran, for instance, specifies the key regions of the empire. The Gupta dynasty will rule over Anuganga, the middle Gangetic basin, Prayag, present-day Prayagraj, Saket, Ayodhya, and Magad, approximately Bihar, and all the surrounding regions. But at its peak, the Gupta Empire covered a larger area than this. Most of present-day North and West India, along with parts of Central and East India. So this paragraph tells us that literary sources like the Vishnu Puran describe what the Gupta Empire was like, its rulers, regions and people. The Vishnu Puran specifically names the main areas the Guptas ruled. Anuganga, the middle part of the Ganga river basin. Prayag, today's Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh. Saket, present-day Ayodhya. And Magad, roughly the region of modern Bihar. So when the Gupta Empire was at its strongest and most powerful, it ruled over a much bigger area. It included most of northern and western India and also parts of central and eastern India. So this literary source helps us understand where the Gupta Empire began and how much it later expanded. Let's explore. In the grade 6 chapter, Timeline and Sources of History, we listed multiple sources that help us understand the past. Compile a list of the sources we have referred to so far in the chapter. What did we learn from each source? In grade 6, in chapter Timeline and Sources of History, we have already learned how historians use different sources to study the past. They studied evidences like inscriptions, coins, buildings, monuments, books, and manuscripts. So we need to list the different sources that we used in this chapter to learn about the Gupta Empire. Here is a list of them and what we learned from each. Sources of history from this chapter and what we learned from them. Monuments like the Iron Pillar of Delhi. It helped us understand the advanced scientific and metalworking skills of the Guptas and their religious devotion. Literary sources like the Vishnu Puran and writings by court poets like Harisena. These tell us about the culture, art, learning and royal achievements of the Gupta period. Inscriptions like the Prayag Prasasti by Harisena. told us about the Samudragupta's achievements, his wars, victories, and how he ruled his empire. Coins of Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, and others. It showed us the images of kings and queens, important events like the Aśvamedha Yajña, and the wealth and prosperity of the Gupta period. Imagine what it would have entailed to move a whole army of soldiers, elephants, horses, cooks, and other support staff, as well as the supplies to feed them all. Clearly, the tributary kings must have been asked to provide for these. Imagine how difficult it must have been in ancient times to move an entire army. Not just soldiers, but also elephants, horses, cooks, and helpers, along with all the food and supplies needed for everyone. It shows that large military campaigns required a lot of planning and resources. Because of this, the tributary kings, that is, the smaller rulers who had accepted the emperor's authority, were likely asked to provide food, shelter, and other support for the army when it passed through their regions. So this tells us that maintaining a powerful empire like the Guptas was not easy. It depended on cooperation, organization, and contributions from many smaller kingdoms. Let's explore. Take a political map of India and locate the present-day states and union territories where the Guptas ruled. See figure 7.8. Mark these states on the map and count how many you found. Then compare your findings with your friends to see if everyone got the same number or discovered something different. Figure 7.8. The Gupta Empire's extent. Note that the Vakatakas were the allies of the Guptas. The Guptas claimed to have conquered parts of the east coast down to the Pallavas, whom they may have briefly subdued. So figure 7.8 shows the extent of the Gupta Empire, or how far their empire spread across India. It also notes that the Vakatakas, who ruled in the central part of India, that is around present-day Maharashtra, were allies of the Guptas, meaning they were friendly kingdoms that supported each other. The Guptas also claimed to have conquered parts of the eastern coast of India, reaching the Pallava kingdom in present-day Tamil Nadu. However, historians believe this control was temporary or limited. The Guptas probably subdued, that is, defeated or controlled the Pallavas only for a short time. To do the activity given, take a political map of India. Look at figure 7.8 in your textbook. It shows the area where the Guptas ruled. Now on your map, mark the present-day states and union territories that were part of the Gupta Empire. Count how many you have marked. Then you can compare your answers with your classmates. Some might find slightly different results depending on how they mark the borders. So in this map, you can see that the Gupta Empire covered a large part of the northern and central India. So states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, parts of Punjab, parts of Uttarakhand, the Union Territory of Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, major parts of Madhya Pradesh, parts of Maharashtra, parts of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, parts of West Bengal, and parts of Odisha were under the rules of the Guptas. So with this, we have completed the part 1 of the chapter, the Gupta era and age of tireless creativity. I hope you found it easy to understand. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. We will see you again in our next video. Bye-bye.